happy to have you here with me, Payal.
Thank you.
Because like you're one of the people that really had a big influence in my life. And I'm so glad that I met you. I think I met you 2 months ago. Like, because I started coaching with you, like, I think, when did we start?
Yeah, 8 weeks ago.
8 weeks ago. And I cannot believe that we finished the program. I want to ask you today, I want you to tell me about your story and what do you do and what made you get into the healing life.
So I've also been in a rock bottom place where I went through a lot of self-doubt, insecurity, where I felt I was never good enough, and that played out in all aspects of my life. Be it career, be it relationships, just be it friendships. I always thought I was never good enough, and I was so tired of that vicious circle that just continued. And I've always been always questioning about things in life and religion and spirituality and things like that. And I started my path with Nichiren Buddhism, and before that I was studying the Hindu scriptures, and I studied those for a few years, which led me to my journey which is a spiritual practice as well. And that journey led me into me understanding that I can support not only myself, because I felt such a shift in me, that I started to learn different healing therapies that would help not only me but even others as well. So initially it started with me working on myself, and then as and when I was doing it, I understood the strength and the power of what there is to connect deep into who you are and have that ability to really shift so many mindsets and limited beliefs that just hold us back from our dreams and our aspirations. And as I started to work on that, and as I started to see people find the shift in their lives, it was just so rewarding for me that I went deeper into it. I studied more, I learned more, and then I put together the course that you and a few others have been doing, and it's amazing to see how everybody just goes away with smiles.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. Like, I actually never believed that these things work. Like, before, like when you go through difficult situations in your life, you think there's no way out. And like you hardly find people guiding you to whatever you have to do. So for me, like sometimes I regret that it happened in my later stage of life, but then I feel if I didn't go through whatever I went through in my life, I wouldn't reach to this point. But what I learned about healing is that like you're able to change whatever situation you're going through, and it's possible to change it because everything is in your mind and everything is related to what is programmed in your subconscious mind. That it was like not easy for me to sit and to share with someone and to tell you a lot about what was going on in my life, because it feels like you're exposed. And I was like, and it's because like I think when somebody reaches to a point where they're like helpless and they just need help, they try to find ways. But I think it requires a lot of bravery. I think like healing is not meant to be for everybody. Like some people, they decide to live their life based on the way they're programmed and based on however belief system they were brought up with. Mm-hmm. So healing also made me like love the people around me more and to have a very good or a better relationship with my family, the people around me, because oh my God, I'm gonna cry now. Oh, it's my turn to cry. Oh my God. Also, like, I'm sure you relate with this. Like, I don't think you reach to this point without going through difficulties. So, if you don't mind, like, sharing with me, like, a moment in your life which made you think that, like, you wanted to change and you wanted to seek that path instead of, like, just living the life that you had in the past.
Sure. So, I was going through a very difficult relationship, and it reached a point where I felt that I couldn't, I didn't know who I was anymore. I just lost myself completely. Like I just felt I had no identity of my own. And when I reached rock bottom and I felt that I can't love myself, I didn't have anything to love about myself. If somebody asked me, what do you love about yourself? There was nothing that I could think of. And I remember one person saying, what do you have gratitude for yourself? And there was not one quality of mine that I felt that I appreciated or liked or loved about myself. And I just said, I think I have gratitude that I have 10 fingers and 10 toes. And when I said that, I think it really hit me that this isn't the life. Yeah, and I think when I reached that stage, I just realized that I don't think this is what life is about. And I started exactly as you said, there wasn't a safe space for me to be who I am. And that's what I wanted to provide for others. where I could just share whatever it was I was feeling about myself, the hate, the self-criticism, the lack of self-love, all of that, and not be judged. And I decided that on that day that was a space that once I get out of this is what I would create for others who wanted to make a change in their life and let them know that there is hope. So it was just with that intent that I set out to transform so much about my own life, and I look back today and I feel so proud of, you know, the journey that I've gone through, the darkness that I went through, and I did find the light, and each of us has that light, and that's what I want to just shine in everybody, to let them know that there is so much of hope and brilliance in each of them, to really live and smile and be joyful and really enjoy their lives, because that's why we're here.
I think most of the people that become enlightened and they take this path that they want to transform other people is that because they went through a lot of pain in their life. So you would not be able to relate to other people if you don't understand what they go through. So it doesn't mean that you're completely gonna know what they're going through. Like, you cannot put yourself completely in someone's shoes, but then you become more relatable. So, like, even after I took the coaching with you, you inspired me so much to actually become a coach, because I feel like I was able to be myself and to share, and I want to give that to somebody because it's possible on this. And you're one of the people that actually inspired me to push myself to do what I love. So
thank you. I'm glad, because you're a natural at it and you should be doing this. And there are so many people out there who fear or who feel that, you know, this healing work isn't for me, or feel scared, or like you said earlier, you know, feel restricted or feel ashamed or embarrassed of what things they have, what they feel or what they have gone through. And it's so important for them to know that there is a space and there is somebody out there who's there to help them and who can help them transform, and they don't have to be stuck in that situation forever, or those emotions or those limited beliefs. It's for all levels of people with all kinds of difficulties or challenges or obstacles, to know that there is help and there is a possibility of change, and each of them are beautiful souls and they can reconnect back into themselves.
Amazing. Another question that I wanted to ask you is, what is healing, or what is the right way to approach healing from your perspective?
So I think for me, healing has been a journey of understanding myself better. It's not about seeking something, because we have everything within us. So for me, it's been more about just dropping all of those notions, those judgments, those curtains that I've created about myself through all my experiences, maybe through what people have said about me, my own opinion about myself. So it's really coming and getting clarity actually about who I truly am and my value. And for me, I think healing has been that journey of really letting go and releasing everything that doesn't serve me any longer, and allowing me to actually stand and connect into the truth of who I am, the eternal truth of who I am. And exactly as you mentioned earlier about religion and spirituality, and you know, this connects you so deep into the wisdom of what we have within us, and that wisdom is given by God. So it is a deeper connection. When I have that within me, it's a deeper connection that I automatically get with God. So they go hand in hand. It's not in conflict with each other. And you don't have to feel that, you know, oh, I'm not following my religion if I'm following spirituality. I'm actually getting a better understanding and feeling of joy in my religion when I am connecting deeper into myself.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So I also wanted to highlight the idea of like inner child, because a lot of people are curious about it, and like it was one of the things that surprised me in the beginning of my journey to understand that like your inner child needs and how much it's important to be aware of these needs. It's not easy to heal from your inner child needs like for a long period of time, but as long as you're aware of them, like whenever you get into a situation, it reminds you that, okay, this is my inner child reacting in the situation. So I think it's something, correct me if I'm wrong, it's something like in your subconscious as well. Like when we grow up or when we're kids, from age I think 4 to 7, we start programming ourselves with a lot of incidents that happened, and it doesn't mean that we're brought up in a very bad society. Our parents could be very loving and caring, but we end up carrying a lot of emotions that we don't need. So my question is, what is the link with the inner child or the programming, or how can you explain to people that it's one of the important things to focus on when you're starting the healing journey? I hope my question is clear.
So as children, all we want to do is really feel loved, protected and safe. And in our limited understanding of our maturity level at that age, if that's not happening for us, for whatever reason, in reality our parents have not been loving towards us because they are the first point of contact of love for us and making us feel safe. So when we don't feel that, we start to get wounded as children. And as you mentioned, 4 to 7 is the age when we start to develop our belief system. And then that is the foundation which is built on further. So if in those crucial ages we are dealing with a lot of issues, that becomes the foundation, and it's a shaky foundation which we carry forward, and we see patterns within us going forward in life that will impact us. So inner child work is it's so important because it's going down to the core and letting those small wounded little versions of us at whatever age or stage. It starts from when you're in your mother's womb and it can go up until till today. So it's letting those little versions of you who felt hurt or unloved or abandoned, scared, fearful, to go back to those little children and let them know that they are loved and that they are safe and that you're always going to be there for them and that you're always going to care for them and they're never going to have to go through all of the trauma and the emotions that they went through. So once those little inner children start to get healed and they integrate back into you, that means they are healed and they're whole and they come back into you. And when they come back into you, that means you as a whole today are completely healed from the traumas of the past. So when you recognize a pattern happening, you immediately understand because you've gone through that healing. So you recognize that, oh, you know what? I understand that it's coming from there. So you have a bit of time to pause, reflect, and you don't have to react immediately because now you've understood where it was coming from. And you've released the charge, that is the emotion that was with that particular situation.
Okay, like you're making me have a lot of questions now. So I'm trying to see from people's perspective and what they want to know about inner child. So my question is like, is it possible that even after you're healed, that you would get into situations where your inner child comes back or like that wound comes back even if you went through the process and you went through a process where you felt khalas, like it's done and I feel happy, but you never, like I think healing or spirituality is something never ending, like you'll always continue to learn, but like do you believe that these things could possibly come back and you still have to deal with them but you're going to be dealing with them in a different way, or does that mean you're not healed and you have to do more work?
It can come back, but there is a certain awareness and an understanding when it comes back. So when you have understood where that was coming from, then when you react to it in today, you understand you're not that unhealed little child that you were, because today you're wiser with more resources, you're stronger, you have a sense of awareness of the situation at that time to where you are today. So you will immediately be able to shift your energy or your attention from feeling like a victim energy or feeling like, oh, I'm going through all that trauma again, or I cannot forgive whoever it was again, to understanding that I was that age at that point and that's my limited understanding. I did the best that I could in those circumstances. But today, with this understanding that I have, I don't have to react as that little child. So when you have that understanding, then immediately your whole response to the current situation in front of you or the person or the emotions completely shifts, because you're not going into that whole circle of the drama and all of that. You're just taking the lessons of what you learned all along and you're leaving all the drama behind.
Like each time, I think you peel a certain layer and it shades the light on a certain situation. But at the time you feel like you're not doing the work and you feel like you're going like, is it backwards? Like backwards, I think it's the right word. Because when I was like doing the work, or like I'm still doing the work, and sometimes when I get into the like any bad situation and I overreact, I try to remind myself not to judge myself, because like the more you judge yourself, you're not going to be able to fix the situation. So I think what is important is that during the journey is to take your time and not judge yourself, because like I think in the beginning I was always thinking I want to do this quick, I want to but my like emotionally I was resisting and I wasn't able to actually connect with a lot of things that were going on because they were very deep for me. Okay, one of the most important things that like made me go through healing is that I wanted to know more about like the idea of self-love and about the idea of like your relationships, because I think your relationship with yourself reflects upon like the people around you. So can you talk about more first I want to know about the moment when you felt that you loved yourself. What made you start loving yourself? Like, can you tell me or take me back to a moment where you felt like, finally, I feel like I love myself? And also, can you share with me like the idea of self-love and how it reflects and opens the door for like a better relationship?
So I think for me, self-love came when I started respecting myself. And it started coming about when I was recognizing that I was stuck in the same pattern. So it wasn't so much about the person across me, it was more about my own opinion about myself. And it also came about when I started to recognize and created a boundary that what other people are thinking of me is their opinion. But if I was going to get swayed by everybody and what they were saying, be it negative, then it almost felt like I didn't know myself at all. So when I started to shift that and create a boundary and say, okay, if this person is saying something hurtful to me, it's coming from their own set of experiences and judgments. But I need to be clear about who I am and what I stand for and where I am willing to compromise up until. And when I started to love myself more, so I think for me, self-love really meant self-acceptance of me as I am, where I am, the way I am. And that's very hard to do because when you're in a space where you don't feel of any value and you don't feel valued both, it's difficult to reach that stage of thinking that I can even accept myself. But as I moved along in the journey, I understood that we're never going to be the perfect people, and that's not the idea of why we are here. And everything is a lesson and everything is a learning, and if I can just take the person or the experience or whatever is happening in and around me that is impacting me, if I can just understand that for what it is there to teach me about myself, because if it's triggering me, means there's something within me that needs to be healed, not so much about the other person or their problem. So as I started to be more aware of the triggering within me, I would go back to understand, where is this coming from? It's not just about right here, right now, what this person is saying. And most times it does go back to some sort of childhood lack, or your understanding of lack, like lack of love, lack of stability, security, financial security for some. It depends, and it plays out in different aspects like career or relationships or your own relationship with family and things like that. So I think for me, I started to really understand that my foundation needed to be strong of who I know myself to be. And as I recognized all the things that I didn't like about myself or I didn't appreciate about myself, I paid more attention to that to ensure that I didn't continue the same pattern over and over again. So it takes time and it takes effort, and I think healing is a journey. It's not that you can go to a therapist or a healer and then say, okay, 6 sessions and I'm sorted. What the 6 sessions will really bring you is open up pathways for you to follow that path. And as you're walking on that path, for you to be able to enjoy the beauty of that path itself. So it's about really recognizing how deep and strong, beautiful, genuine that you are. And each of us is that, child of God that's been blessed with all of this. My unique mission is different from yours, and I can't fill your footsteps. And that's how the Creator has created this beautiful life for each of us. And we all have beautiful gifts within us. And if we can just see that and recognize that for ourselves, the journey just gets so much easier along the way.
Wow, so beautiful. And as you said, when somebody triggers you, is that you have to shed a light on what triggers you, because it was so hard for me in the beginning to believe that you cannot change people, because that was my mission. I wanted to change people because I felt if I had to change people, then I would be happy and they're going to give me whatever I want. So how much I was reliant on other people to feed me with their feelings or emotions, it was so strong that I wasn't able to be independent emotionally. But now I feel like I cannot tell you like 100% I have gone a long way, but I feel like at least I'm aware that I can give these feelings to myself rather than seeking it from other people. I cried so much. Now I have to make you cry, that's my mission. Like, if I could ask you, who was the person that actually helped you or led you to like getting into these things and to connect with yourself? Is it like someone, or was it like yourself?
I think exactly what you said, that when you set the intent and you start this journey, everything just opens up for you when things fall into place. And I've, once I started on this journey, it was incredible the way things fell into place for me, and the people that I met and the mentors that I came across and the our spiritual leaders that I read about and who I was impacted from or influenced by. Everything just fell into place one after the other, and people just came into my life, and it wasn't something that I was looking for, or it just fell and it just happened, and it just opened up these beautiful pathways of wisdom, of conversations, of understanding different cultures, and each religion or what spiritual practice or whatever it is you follow has the truth about who you are in each religion, and you just need to tap into that to find it. And that's basically what I want to do, is to allow, and help people to tap into their own brilliance, into their own wisdom, into their own creativity, believing in themselves and knowing that there is a change and a shift that they can bring to their own lives without depending on anybody else for support or acknowledgement or validation. To first start with doing all of that for yourself, and then it's amazing how it's the oneness of self and environment, and it just flows into your environment, into everything around you. And I think you've also seen that shift for yourself, and when you have created that wholeness within yourself, you're seeing things differently, your perspective is changing, your mindset has changed. So you're encompassing who you truly are in everything external.
Exactly. So you mentioned about the validation, something that is really important, because I think as humans we will always want to be validated by other people. But then if I don't validate myself within, like, it's very difficult for me to actually, ask for people to accept me if I don't accept myself. So for me, like, in the beginning, I used to just seek people's validation without validating myself, and when I'm sitting by myself, I used to criticize myself. And it also affected on my work, it affected on my social media and everything. But like, when you work on it, you actually do it for yourself. You do what you do for you before you do it for other people. Okay, I think we said we're going to record for 1 minute. We ended up recording for 1 hour, but it was a very nice conversation. But I want you to share with me something that makes you who you are, because I see that you have a beautiful energy, and you have a way of people connecting with you easily and relating to you. So I want you to tell me who Payal is. I never got to ask you this question.
I think I'm just someone who genuinely believes in heart-to-heart connections, and I think that each of us has this ability to connect and have that compassion for ourselves and for another person, and just allowing ourselves to connect through that love. And this love is there for all of us to open up to, and sometimes we feel like, oh, that's a stranger, how can I say anything? Or you walk into a room and you feel like you're the odd one out. But actually, if we just think for 1 minute that there is a connection and a bond that each of us shares below the surface, and if you can just scratch past that surface, which is what I like to do, and just connect deep into somebody, into who they truly are, and I think that's what makes me who I am.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you for accepting to have this video with me. I'm so honored, and to have someone like you, and I just wanted people to hear us talk, because as I said, you're one of the best people that I met, even though I just met you in a very short period of time, but I'm sad that you're leaving. But whatever you're doing right now, it's something that is impacting other people, and hopefully we're going to have another discussion maybe in London.
Yes,
go to London.
Absolutely.
So is there anything you want to share before we conclude this video?
No, I think I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this, and for sharing your own journey, because it's not easy. It takes a lot of courage to share your tender points, and you really pushed through on so many fronts to do that, whether it's been in your healing or whether it's just been in the work that I see you put out on your Instagram account and supporting people in your own way. And I think that we need more of you and more of us, because it's going to make the world a much happier place than what it is right now.
I'm learning from you now. See, I'm becoming a coach now. Thank you so much, Payal. And like as you said, it's not easy to share this part of you because I had people telling me like, why are you sharing this side of you? Like, doesn't it make you weak in front of other people? But I don't see it the way they see it. I see it as strength because not everybody's able to share. Like deep within, I don't feel like I'm so weak because I'm sharing or I'm crying. Like now it makes me so proud that I'm able to cry and to feel. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad that we